So do you ever have those days where like everything just seems to go kind of wrong? You're not meaning for it to. You think you're paying attention, you think whatever, but maybe you have too many things on your plate or too many things in your mind, and as a result, you're missing steps. Today is actually one of those days in the soap shop specifically, with this soap specifically, and it's going to be kind of a short video as well because of all of those reasons, because in addition to having done a terrible, terrible job at all of this, I also lost some of the footage, and I'm not going back and refilming that disaster for you, really, but I am going to, show you the disaster anyway, because that's part of this too. Professional soap makers are boneheads every once in a while and, mess things up. And that's completely normal and all part of the process. It bothers me that I'm saying this now because I'm pretty sure I said this in the first attempt at this testing thing too, but you know what, whatever. This could be my new pull-through tool series. I don't know. I'm going to tell you more about the pour, why it ended up a disaster, and all of the things in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things, and you are here for day 14 of 365 days of soap, year 2, and we are doing another test day. Now, as I've been saying, we are restructuring the channel this year, making it make a little bit more sense than the normal, like, sort of chaotic whatever we've been doing. And so 3 times a week there's going to be a recipe day, so you want to be a soap maker day, and so you want to build a business day, also for that day, also coupled with tests. And the other 4 days of the week are, all of the other making things. Yes. And so today's another test day, being day 14. Yes. And last test day, I did the multi-divider pour thingy, that acrylic thing, the 3D printed thing that everybody's like, no, don't use it. Don't use it. So I'm testing it again because the first round I was also working with an unknown scent and it got very thick, and it was not a lot of fun to clean all of that out of the actual container. The container itself, as you will see, it actually still looks, great, as you would expect. So, I mean, soap was only in it for a few minutes. It's not eaten away. It hasn't done. Let's see if it does as we continue to use it. It's all part of the testing thing too. But anyway, the reason why this one also did not work out is because I had asked the soapprentice to prepare my lye for a few bars before she left. So when I came in, my lye would be cool and ready to go. And there were a couple things of lye prepared, lye solutions prepared, and one of them was for a wine soap that didn't do so well for the soapprentice. It thickened up faster than she expected, and so she got a little gun shy and she didn't want to do it again, and she left it for me. Fine, cool, awesome. The other lye solution was for my swirls attempt, and it wasn't until I had actually picked up the jug and poured it in that I noticed that, well, I had done the wrong thing. So and used the wrong lye solution essentially. And so, you know, working with a wine soap, especially with the oil blend that goes into, you know, the wine soap, whatever, my brain was not where it was, but I, for whatever reason, was like, well, let's try it anyway. Let's see if we can do a wine soap with a swirls multi-divider thing, right? And just check it out. So I did that and it got thick, but it still looked cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the video and we can talk more about that and all of the things, you know, there. Okay, so you know what, I didn't do this in the first one, so let's check out the actual divider. Now, this is what it is. It is definitely a 3D printed container. And this particular one holds about 32 ounces. That makes it very difficult for like a 12 bar batch of soap, right? It makes it very, very hard to do that because my batch is around between 56 and 58 ounces for a 12 bar batch of soap. And so you have to be kind of creative in the way that you use it. So there's definitely that. And I just picked this up off of Etsy at paintpourstore.com. This was not specifically listed for, hey, use this for soap. And also, it has all kinds of things. It's not dishwasher safe, do not expose to high heat, and temperatures above 140 degrees will warp the plastic. Okay, and you're supposed to rinse it with cold water afterwards. I did not do that between the first pour and the second pour. I put a whole bunch of scalding hot water in to help me get out all of the nasties in the container after the first test with this container, and so far so good. And that's the cute little tool that it gave us to clean it. Okay, now remember I said that I lost footage. I don't actually know if I lost it or if I didn't film it, but as soon as I put the lye into the oils and started mixing, there was a very obvious scent that went, oh God, this is my wine soap. I used the wrong oils and lye solution for what I was meant to be filming. And so I could have just not filmed this, I guess, and then just gone on and did the right one. But also I already had in my mind that I was going to do this, and the tool was already out and like in my way, as much as a little plastic container can be in your way. And so I'm like, screw it. Let's see if this works for a wine soap. Now, as you can see, it's very thick. It's a wine soap. So wines and beers can accelerate trace and yield a thicker soap, a thicker batter, just by nature of the sugars that are in, you know, wines and beers. Well, not exactly sugar, whatever. But also for my wine and beer soaps, I also use my Big Bubble Blend. And so it was going to be kind of thick anyway because that has around 66% solid oils in it, and there's not a lot of work time with it anyway. But you know, I decided to play with it because why not? We like tests. And so I scrambled really quick to go and measure out the fragrance for my Grapes of Bath soap to make sure, because I needed to also make that today too. And you know, separate all the colors into their appropriate colors for Grapes of Bath and see what it would do with this. It's not a great... I already knew that this was not going to be a good idea just because I had seen what it did with an accelerating fragrance, you know, in the beginning with the first attempt, you know, like a week ago or whatever. So I already assumed that this entire plan was going to be just, you know, messed up from Jump Street. But you know, it's fine. It's fine. I like to test and I like to show you the test. So let's see, you know, what comes of all of it. Now again, because this container only holds 32 ounces, I had to get kind of creative with the actual pouring and the using of this divider tool, because I knew that I would not be able to get too... I would not be able to refill this container, essentially, because the soap was already so thick. So ultimately what I decided to do was fill the container as much as I possibly could put as much as I possibly could into the container, and then for the rest of it, just kind of plop it all into the mold and, you know, pour on top of it, which is another fun way to do slab pours if you know that you're working with a scent that's going to accelerate, or some batter that has already thickened up. You just lay down a base layer and then just kind of go from there. So that's what I, you know, ultimately decided to do with this little weird divider. So scrape all of the extra batter that is still in my containers that I use to separate everything and color them into the mold with no particular rhyme or reason to it, like really not, and then pour on top of that, which is, again, totally fine. You can totally do that. So this whole experiment with this multi-pour thing, again, as I said, after the first attempt, I filled the container after trying to scrape out as much as I possibly could, and you saw the craziness with like the grossness that I was able to get out, and how like clumpy and chunky it was after the scent had accelerated like crazy. I then filled all cavities with scalding hot water, and then let it sit, and then poured it out and refilled it like, I don't know, 8 times before I even attempted to properly clean it. Like the bulk of it was dissolved before I attempted to properly clean it out. And so that whole thing with no scalding or no hot water, only use cold water to clean, I didn't do that, and I saw no problems with the actual container. And that is the only reason why I actually wanted to play with this acrylic pour tool thing in the first place, was because so many soapers for like a full weekend were just saying shit, right? Like, you can't do this. You can't use that container for soap. And I'm like, well, A, it's not for like the saponification of soap. It's not for lye. It's for, yeah, I mean, the soap batter itself is caustic to a point, but once you actually get the lye solution into your oils and get it to emulsification, the risk and the danger, oh, see, that's not coming out. All the time that I spent getting all the rest of the stuff in, it's not great. But yeah, once you actually get your lye into your oils and get it emulsified, the danger of the soap, it's still dangerous to a degree, but not nearly as dangerous or caustic as your just lye and water solution is, because it's already started its breaking down of the fatty acid chains. It's already started the saponification process. So wildly less dangerous at that point, and therefore less caustic. And so this idea that you can't use this because it's been 3D printed, A, you don't know what types of little plastic cartridges things were used. You don't know whether or not it is the right plastic, rating to use for soap. 2, we use the weirdest molds ever for soap making that just are fine and have been tried and true forever, and just like the standard, like the gold standard. And nobody said boo. But now we're gonna say boo over this little tool thingy? I mean, where are you getting your information? Seriously, like, what? I would like a source, please. That, whatever. And so those sources, because I tried looking them up, didn't really exist. It's just a bunch of people talking shit on the internet that just heard from a person, but, not like a person. It's just like, it becomes like a weird old wives' tale or an urban legend or whatever. And so this is why we're testing this in the first place. Now, again, this was so thick that I had a really difficult time getting it out of the container. And so I kind of decided to just plop the entire thing down and do a little shake and shimmy, which I love doing. The shake and shimmy is always fun. Whenever you have an opportunity to do that in your slab molds, yeah, do that thing. it's just fun. I always have the biggest grin on my face while I am doing the shake and shimmy because it's cool. Like, I don't know. You do that with your slabs, right? You've done that? If you haven't, do a pour like that. Just throw a bunch of colors into the mold and then just spin the slab mold around, shake it a lot. I mean, just have fun and watch how things start to muddy on the edges and all mix together, and more importantly, flatten out in the main body of it, because this soap is so damn thick at this point that the banging is not going to actually get it where I want to. But you do some shakes, totally, you can totally make that work. And this is still ultimately going to end up my grapes of Bath, because this is basically what I do for my grapes of Bath whenever I make it. So that works. And also you can see that the more you shake it, the more the colors muddy together, which can be cool if that's the look that you're going for, or they can be more pronounced, like in the middle there, if that's what you're going for. So this will get put into the oven for C-pop and gel, and we will cut it up, you know, tomorrow, but right now. Okay, and yet another part of the disastrous of all of this, I went to film the cut and saw that the soap apprentice had already cut it, and so I just took all those bars off of the cure rack and sort of tried to put them together in some kind of fashion so it made sense. I don't think I actually got the pattern right, but you know, this is what the bars look like. You've got some wood grain type textures going on here. You've got some watercolor type textures going on here. It's ultimately not what the point of the multi-divider acrylic, you know, tool thing is for, obviously, because it didn't work. Like, it was an actual fail. But you know, the soaps, still soap. We got some soda ash on them, but you know, it's easy enough to clean off. That's fine. No problem with that. And you know, they're still my grapes of Bath. It's the same formulation, it's the same scent blend, same colors, and they all look basically how the grapes of Bath reasonably look every time I make those soaps. So it's all good. It's a fail for the, you know, acrylic pour tool thing, but you know, I still ended up with soap that's completely usable and saleable and awesome. Just don't try this with wine soaps, really. And there you go, the swirls, divider, multi-spout, pour, what are those things called? What are we calling them? Acrylic pourer things? Yeah, test 2. Still didn't do exactly what I wanted it to, but the soap was way easier to get out this time around with this level of thickness than take 1. So that was good. And also, ultimately, you saw what it did. It didn't exactly work out, and so just clump and scrape and whatever, and then give it shimmies. It's just fun to do. But seriously, you should do that if you have not like done the little spin things with slabs, or just like do it. It's fun. I don't know, I enjoy it. It's a fun time. You get to spin the mold around or give it a little shaky shake. It's awesome. Love that. And it ended up, you know, beautiful bar of still the wine soap. It's still my grapes of Bath, and so that still totally works, which is good. I'm of course going to have to do a divider test again, because I'm not done. I'm going to actually play with this and see what it does. And so I guess it's still going to be in a slab, because for this part, I'm still thinking kiss pour. That's what this is going to look like. It's a kiss pour, for sure. But, you know, I want an actual good one to show you that I am capable of doing things. You know, so I'm going to keep testing this. And the soap apprentice will probably be getting involved in it too. But yeah, for right now, that was take 2 of this weird acrylic divider thing. And so as it stands, we still don't super know what a successful pour with something like this will look like. So we're going to keep trying, and then we'll find out. If you are interested in buying the grapes of Bath, it's at soapandclay.com, along with all my wine soaps and beer soaps and all the jazz. Yeah, go do that thing for sure. If you're interested in seeing what else we do and how many attempts it takes before I actually master this, subscribe to the channel. That would be excellent. For those of you who are subscribed to the channel, hey, you're excellent. Thank you. I appreciate you every day. Thank you so much for joining me for another round of 365 days of soap. I'm out of here for today. I will see you guys all again tomorrow for another round of soapy fun. Bye.